Hey everybody, welcome to the ninth session of our Baali V5 game, the Baali Chronicles, set in Chicago. Sorry, it's been a long day for me. I'm a little bit tired, so forgive me that. Give me that one really quick. But we're all here again, so that means, as always, tonight we'll be playing the time-honored game of catching Lemont up to speed. That is one of our favorite games here to play at Postmodern Gaming Channel, especially when it comes to the Baali. Our second favorite is catching CD up on the shit that has happened when he was gone. So these things always get fun responses. Lemont has been gone since the previous night. It's now Saturday, the day after the last session, which was on a Friday. Lemont has been gone with their mawla, Quentin Black. They went towards Milwaukee to get some ritual components and some writing so that he can come down and teach them how to perform some various rituals and blood sorceries. And so Lemont has come back with their mentor at the opening of the night. So that all being said, Lemont, you will only be at one hunger because you guys have been traveling through the part of the night, haven't gotten up. And since Quentin tends to keep a stock of things with him while he's out on the road traveling, you don't have to worry about feeding. So even if you do get a little bit of hunger, it gets slaked pretty much as soon as you guys get up. Now, that doesn't account for Sullivan or Preston. So for the two of you waking up, I need your rouse checks. Sullivan makes it. Come on, Preston. No whammy. And Preston doesn't. However, Preston has a wonderful little benefit. Preston, you'll still wake up missing no blood, but you have several rat carcasses and some dead inks. That's all around you, as per usual. You're getting used to it. So, Sullivan, Preston, you guys get up for the evening. Not any worse for wear. Preston wakes up, has a couple more dead rat carcasses on him, so those get cleaned up. You guys go through your evening rituals of getting ready for the night, and by the time you guys are ready, Lemont and Quentin will arrive at the warehouse loft. Now, for Lemont, Quentin drives a black SUV. Similar to the one that Sullivan has, although Sullivan's has been fixed. It's a little newer, a little more fresh. It's like one of those new black Lexuses, so it's a really nice vehicle. When he's with you, you guys picked up a couple of different tomes that he had with a bunch of different writings in it for various rituals and some other lore and like questions of demons and devils. And he also brought some just components for your rites. So incense, maybe a couple more athames that are kind of dedicated just for doing sacrificial work. He hasn't quite seen you guys' sacrificial chamber outside of when he did the ritual on it, this Warden Circle versus Spirits to keep V away. He hasn't said anything to you about what that says, really, or what the issues with it are, but you can tell by the way he's kind of been around it, or when you bring it up, it's a serious issue that he basically is kind of hoping to set you guys on a path to fixing it. And over the course of your journey with him to Milwaukee and back, he kind of confirms your thoughts about how you're going to need at least 6 or so or more like good quality sacrifices to kind of purge or reset the well. In his opinion, it has to be some sort of massive influx of sacrificial energy to kind of like rededicate it, or you let it die. It's really those two things. So it kind of fits in what you were thinking about everything. So he kind of just confirms what your suspicions were.
Okay.
When you guys get back, Quentin basically steps in after you, just gives both Sullivan and Preston a brief nod of acknowledging your existence before he sets up shop in your living area and starts arranging some of the tomes and various scrolls that he has for the rituals that he can teach you guys, leaving you all to have time to discuss.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll step in, throw myself on the couch nonchalantly.
Why don't you go ahead, Sullivan?
What's good, everybody?
No, I think you can go with this one.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, you go.
Is there something to go with? I don't understand. Come on, guys. What's
Oh yeah, there's the one thing. The Tremere think that we are our Tremere contact thinks we're house core tricks.
Quentin just kind of nods as he's arranging things. Yeah, that's how I set it up for you.
So there's that. That's a good thing.
And the Torador think I'm a Torador, and the Torador think you're a Kata. I mean, yeah, that's fine. Whatever helps us continue to maintain the ruse. I don't care what anybody thinks we are, as long as they don't know what we are.
I killed Trina.
Who?
Remember the My Gangrel Bahari contact.
Oh. Okay. Well, tell me more. I'm enraptured. What's the story?
Well, the
So-
cultivar have through Narissa have completely just taken over the Bahari here, and so everybody's cultivar are dead, as far as I can tell. Trina was so far gone, there was no redemption. And so I decided that she was too much of a liability and loose end and had to end her.
Okay.
Not necessarily in a meaningful way or the way that I would have liked to have separated her life from her body, but that is what it is. My mortal contact, my mortal tie to the Bahari, I can't get a hold of. I'm at this point presuming that he's dead, which once I confirm that, but it changes things for me because he's what I had left, and that's just what it is, I guess. There's a big discussion going around the city right now as to what the fuck to do about the Bahari. Annabelle is pushing for a blood hunt. The prince is kind of dragging his feet a little bit. As we know, what's his face? Larson sort of has the ear of the prince a little bit, so I'm sure he's got something to say about that. I don't know what his relationship is entirely, or if he has a relationship with Narissa, or how he feels about that whole thing. I don't know, but I'm assuming if he's dragging his feet, it means that he's got people in his ear telling him to not hold everyone responsible for what's
Right.
going on.
Well, it probably behooves us to maintain a distance from the Bahari element or association for the time being, just to see how that plays out. But as long as these things aren't, coming back to us, then I don't see what the big deal is.
No, nothing should be coming back to us.
Okay. Well, how are we on the party end of things? Are things in motion for that?
We hadn't set anything in motion. I think we laid the seeds, but haven't ironed out the date yet. We were waiting for things downstairs to be to the point where we could have the party, do the deed, and it be effective and not just be turned around while we were sleeping because of our
Okay.
friend.
Okay. Well, what else? I feel like something's not being shared. No offense, gentlemen, but you have a habit of anytime I'm not around for more than 5 or 6 hours, something really terrible happens.
Something
Quentin
that
chuckles.
with
Although you did murder someone, so yeah.
With Trina before we dispatched her, I gazed into her soul to feel her sin, and from what I can gather, I'm pretty sure she butchered the entirety of the Church of King here in Chicago, or at least what she thought was the entirety. That's the impression that I got. Talon and machete, actually, and she was just awash in blood.
Yeah, that's what her and Narissa want to do, and that's why the city is contemplating what to do.
Okay.
I was asked
But
by
other
by
than-
Clan Tortor what I thought of the whole thing, and I support what Annabelle's angle is, which is to blood hunt a lot of them because fuck them.
Okay.
Other than that, we've been in a holding pattern while you've been gone for the most part.
Okay. Well, we need to focus our efforts on addressing the situation here. So we should move forward on that. Also, the Sabbat, have we gotten any further information on that little, situation?
It's
Don't think so.
it's in progress.
Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten any updates.
We try to follow up, and we're told that Sierra was not in, and that she was out, presumably at the location we gave.
Okay.
Dealing with it.
Okay. Well, good. Then, aside from a little blood on your hands, which I'm assuming we're confident no one cares about, then things are normal.
There is a Tremere, and this is side note. I forgot her name, but she's afflicted. She thinks, from what I can gather, when we were observing her, she thinks she's possessed, or she has some sort of fugue, multiple personality disorder, something of that nature. But our Tremere contact apparently knows how to trigger that. And she goes on a predator spree. I mean, with the way I saw it, she becomes something different. Her beast takes over, but it's cunning. It's not like a wild animal. It's like a smart thinking hunting beast. So it's interesting. It's almost like a switch, I guess.
Well, then maybe we can figure out how to use this to our advantage.
Oh, that Nosferatu showed up again.
Yeah.
He's a potential issue.
Yeah.
Because he just continues to sniff around and be where we're at far too often now.
Well, then we should just invite him in and show him.
Maybe he likes to party.
Maybe he likes the bottom of a pit.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Well, if he's a problem, then we should handle it.
Well, he was looking for somebody. He was looking for, I can't remember their name, but they were at the, they were at the place with the hunters when we went. And he was suspicious of us because everywhere he went to look for that person led him to us. So I pointed him in the direction of that place, and hopefully he'll fuck off from there. But just something to think about.
We should invite him in and let him have a look around, and then make sure he never leaves.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It'd be a "this is Sparta" situation.
Or it could be that maybe he needs a little bit more. Maybe we have to offer him what he needs. Could be any number of things, but certainly before he becomes an issue, we deal with it.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, if that's everything.
I think you have everything.
Oh, that's easy as pie.
Okay.
Then I will. I'll get to work. I'll pull out a notebook, Ray, and I'll start writing down ideas for what I need for a party.
I'll start putting together, from like the moral standpoint, like a guest list.
Well, that's all I'm planning on inviting. I'm not planning on doing like a kindred affair.
Well, it's really easy to get people here. We go out to a club and we make some friends and we invite them to an after party at our house, and they'll come because they love us, and then they're already here, and then whatever happens, and it's done.
Well, that's one way to do it, but I think it would be more meaningful if it was like an actual party that we planned, spend a little bit of money, invite people down, give them music, get them really, in the mood. I was thinking, and of course, this is just me asserting myself, but I was thinking something along the lines of like a tattoo party. They have them from time to time. We have people come and we have some designs that we've worked out, myself and other, of course, human tattoo artists, and we just, give tattoos, get people invested in the pain, and then, throw beer in their heads, let them do shots, act foolish, give them private areas where they can go and copulate. And then when party starts to die down, maybe we give everyone a mild sedative, and we just take them downstairs and, just let them really feel the summation of the party. That's just my idea. But I'm more than open to, other ideas.
Well, that's not a bad idea at all.
Quentin will
I mean,
pause
we do
as he's
have-
organizing things and be like, it's actually a bad idea. And I'll tell you why. And as he looks at you, he kind of like raises a brow and kind of sweeps over to Lemont. He runs a hand over his shaved head. It's like you want to pull tattoo people in. What are you known for in the city of Chicago?
Doing tattoos.
So if all these people in the industry area go missing,
Oh, no. I wouldn't invite anybody from the city.
okay,
We go out to the suburbs.
just don't have it linked in. If you're going to kill 6 people, at least.
No, you're definitely, I mean, you're on a good point there. Yeah. So maybe, yes, maybe that is, you bring up a good point. It hadn't occurred to me. I just, felt maybe I was leaning on my expertise a little too much.
It would definitely be a way to grab enough people, for sure.
Yes. But I guess my perspective on the matter was we choose people instead of just sort of indiscriminately grabbing people. We choose people based on what we see and, who arrives, people that aren't in the community necessarily, or, fringe people that wouldn't be missed by.
Fair.
But I can understand what you're saying too. It could be a little too close to home.
I just prefer a little bit of distance because especially if it becomes a thing, yes, where you're grabbing a couple more people at a time, and it's just you start falling in a habit about who you're pulling, and if you're connected into that group in any way, if for some reason people start sniffing down that rabbit hole, it may lead your direction. However, it could also lead in Edith's direction as well. So it's a 50-50 split, but that's just me speaking off the top of my head. If that's where you want to start looking at individuals and getting those from the fringe, by all means, do however you want to do it. It's just my 2 cents on. I would just go as far away from my normal realm of experience as possible. That's how serial killers get caught. They stay within their circle.
Yeah, fair enough. Good point. Well, all right. Well, that was my idea, so I'll acquiesce. You're right.
I still think pulling people from the suburbs is a better idea.
Yeah, of course, I agree.
I also agree with the hand-picked as opposed to a blast on social media is a better idea as well. It keeps it smaller, more private.
Maybe we could look for some crappy nightclubs out in the suburbs and hand out flyers for an after party like Preston had referenced, and the after party's here, and the people that show up are the people that get to be the guests of honor. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think, Preston?
I think the after party should be someplace else. I don't want a flyer with our information on it. I think we go out to the suburbs and we pull people into a different locale where this actual party takes place, and then from there we select the stock that we want to bring to here.
Oh yeah, okay, makes perfect sense.
How about we do a might be a little too small. I was gonna say like we could do it technically if we could find a Red Roof Inn, a La Quinta Inn, something like that has doors on the outside. We rent a few rooms.
Why don't we just rent one of those Humvee limos
and drive around?
We find a driver, we put him on the payroll, and just drive around.
Be a roving party driving around Chicago.
I don't know. I don't have.
Or the suburbs.
Idea. I thought I had a better idea, but of course I was short-sighted in that regard.
Not short-sighted. It's just you're falling back on what you know, which is understandable. I would do the same thing. But right now I get that rare opportunity to be the outside looking in on this type of situation,
And maybe we go rent a Humvee limo, and we rent some very nice suits, and we just go out to the suburbs and find a few clubs and see if we can get cool guys and cool gals to come and join us on our party limo. And we just don't really take them to a party. We take them here.
What you should do is grab a wedding party, like either
we should also
a bachelor party or a bachelorette party.
Yes, that is a really great idea.
Some downers or something, and put it in a specific bottle of liquor.
Yes, I mean, of course,
disseminate.
We would have to dull their senses, of course.
Well, at least till they got back here.
Yes.
How's the soundproofing downstairs?
That's a good question. Ray,
should be okay.
What is it? How
is it? It's not bad. It is a secret. It's a secret chamber underneath the foundation. So you've got a bunch of dirt around you. The only potential leak for sound would be the doorway and the staircase. But if you close both, you should be okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, until we were ready to bring people down, they would stay closed anyways. So
yeah. So it's good for its needs, and we don't have any neighbors, so at least not above us or below us.
and we got a good amount of room to work with up here when we bring them back here before we bring them downstairs.
Although don't do the work up here.
Of
Right.
course not.
Do it all downstairs.
Right.
It's bad enough we have rodents upstairs.
It's oddly quiet right now.
No scratching in the walls.
Not currently.
Well, it seems to come and go, so I won't really, I won't make a note of it, but it's good to know.
So tell me about these rodent issues. What's going on with that?
Well, that started about the same time as the shift in the well. And there were at the beginning multiple instances where I woke up and they were staring at me or laying on me. And then when I woke up, they would retreat into the walls.
Okay.
And that's where they would stay.
Are they just attracted to you?
Yes.
It's an old thing, one that's not really common to that extent these days. Some of us do have a kinship or a fondness for vermin and keep them around as pets. Sometimes they're attracted to us, but to actually have them flock is an old thing that I thought had died away. Anything else than the rats, or is it just
Rats and bugs.
Rats and some bugs.
okay?
Is there a way to make it stop?
What about the other thing?
Which other thing?
How did this start in the first place?
The thing in Lake Michigan.
The bot flies.
Yeah, there were like bot flies that came out of both me and Preston, but it wasn't a normal bot fly. It was basically made of like a black viscous, almost like our blood, but almost jet black. And it happened for me, it happened after I saw something right off of the boatyard in Lake Michigan that we were near at the yacht club, and let us know there's something else in that Lake Michigan. I don't want to say the name, but it is an entity that is tied directly to one of our ancestors.
Okay, you're saying that's in Lake Michigan.
Something like that, yes. And there's also, I don't know if it or a shard of it or something is within this Narissa person, because she is not. I saw what Preston went through in a vision, and she's not just a vampire. There's no way.
I encountered this thing's presence on a boat out in Lake Michigan as Narissa was enacting a ritual on the gangrel Trina to convert her into I guess the best way to put it would be Narissa's vision of what the cultivar should be, and it involved allowing this entity in. I think this being in some way is working through Narissa to further its ends.
And you think it's in Lake Michigan?
Yes.
We can find out.
I think it's like in the bottom of Lake Michigan. I think that's where it is sleeping or living. And I think a part of it has found its way into Narissa to use as almost a representative or avatar in the city.
Have you ever heard of the name Blackwater? Is the last name? It's one of those names that seem to go way back, so maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. But her name's Narissa Blackwater.
I don't. It's nobody I've ever run across. But in terms of what's in Lake Michigan, we can get an idea of what it is. We just need a victim.
Yes.
It should be.
I need to go grab something from my sleeping area. I'll be back in just a moment.
Well, I think we know.
Does it have to be?
I think we know what it is, don't we, Sullivan? I think we know. I think we know who it is.
Right. But he's saying if it's actually in Lake Michigan, which we think it is, but we're not sure. let me. I'm trying to figure out how to tell him the name without speaking the name.
Well, I think the common name that we
He knows
know
the
is
name.
it's watered down to where it
Like-
doesn't have any power. The name that we know.
Well, so he's read the inscription when he cast the ward versus spirit to keep V out. He knows the name of the entity that you're now linked to with this well. But if you're thinking it's something else in Lake Michigan, that he wouldn't know.
Oh no, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Atal Shen name, he knows that name.
No. I'm
talking about
Nemtaru.
Nemtaru.
You can say that name. It's been diluted enough that it's really doesn't have much power, if any, unless it's ritualistically used. So that name can actually be used.
I got you. All right. I'll just let him know. We think through all the information we've been able to gather and things I've seen in visions that it's the entity Nemtaru,
In Lake Michigan.
potentially.
I can almost tell you with 100% certainty that's not the case. That creature is not even on this continent.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
As you say, if there's a way to verify it, let's do it.
You guys have any victims on speed dial? Any?
I kind of do.
Sullivan has a stable of prostitutes that he
Does he
relies
now?
upon. Yes.
Not a stable. I
You're
have
getting
a
there. You're getting there.
prostitute that I can call, yes. Whenever you're ready. I can call her now if you want.
Go ahead.
I'll pick up my phone and I'll give her a call.
So you call Sarah. She picks up your streetwalker friend. She's like, "Hey, what's going on? I haven't heard from you in a while."
Yeah, no, looking for at least a fun hour if you're interested.
Yeah, always.
All right. You want me to come pick you up?
What time?
How about in an hour?
Yeah, that works. That works. Hit me up the usual spot.
Sure. I'll see you in a bit.
Okay. We should hang
I'll
out.
hang up.
And you'll see that Quentin's just kind of chuckling. Is like, it's like the new thing that where the drivers come and bring you your food.
Like Uber Eats. Yeah, kind of.
Yes. So what I need from all of you, I need your best sacrificial chalice. I have a athame specifically for this type of ritual that I have on me. Tell me you're good in the body disposal department. We don't have to worry about that, yes?
Should be all right.
Because I don't really know if we should be kicking anything into the well right now.
Well, body disposal isn't my specialty, but piece in here, a piece there, and if there is something in Lake Michigan, I'm sure Lake Michigan will eat it up.
We're not going to Lake Michigan. We're doing it here.
Oh, I know, but I mean disposing in Lake Michigan.
We can find a place.
Good. So I'm going to go prepare some things downstairs for this, and I'll leave you all to your devices for the moment. Just bring the chalice down whenever you have it ready.
Yeah, Preston's got that.
And he'll head down through your guys' kind of like trap door, head down the stairs. When he walks, you don't hear any skittering of rats. Like, it's quiet as he heads down those stairs.
I'm going to go pick her up in about 40 minutes or so. So
All right.
Okay.
I will ready the chalice.
wait for the time to pass, and then either I or we will go pick her up.
So you guys relax. Preston, you kind of dig out one of your chalices, make sure it's clean, and make sure it's spiritually clean as well. So you do like a small purification ritual over it to make sure there's nothing left over from previous sacrifices or any previous rites you've done with it. You kind of clean your tools type situation. You take it downstairs to where Quentin's at. Quentin's got 2 lanterns in the basement. He's also got the candles lit around the well, but he's made himself a spot like 5 or 6 feet away from the well. Like he's not anywhere near the writing. And he's actually started to, in the dirt, because as you have the concrete where the well is at, then it just kind of gets really like dirt-like, because a rock kind of erupted from the ground when you guys did the well. So he's more in the dirt, and he's like inscribing all these glyphs and sigils in like a good, I'd say 5 foot, diameter circle. It's not in any particular language. It's just you recognize that a lot of the things that he's putting on there are just different runes of power and like resonation. Whatever ritual he's preparing to perform within this circle is going to be something that he wants to kind of reverberate within itself. Like as the energy starts to leave from whatever's in the middle of the circle, it bounces back in on itself and just keeps on amplifying. That's the intent of what he's been put out there with your level of occult.
I will, once done with the chalice, I will assist in any way that I can, if I can. It's a ritual I'm not familiar with, but if I can help prepare materials or something like that, I'll do so, just to
Yeah, when you
be
come down with the
useful.
chalice and you're kind of standing around like looking for a way to assist, he puts the chalice on the ground. He's like, "Give me your hand."
I will hold out my hand.
He pulls an athame out of his suit jacket and slices you across the palm. It's enough to make you wince a second. He's like, "I want you to squeeze over the chalice just a little bit, not much. A couple of drops is good enough."
I'll do it.
As you're doing that, you see him kind of pull out like this little, like, it almost looks like a druggie's like black little case, like a pencil case. And he has a couple different sticks of incense and things like that in there. And he lights one up, and you see him light the incense as you're kind of dripping blood out into this little chalice. And as the incense lights itself, he starts muttering what sounds like Sumerian. And he starts grinding out the incense in his palm. So some of his dead flesh you'll see will darken and blacken, and charred bits of this will all fall into the chalice as well. Once you get a good like 5 or 6 drops of blood out into it, he has you stop, and then he just kind of stirs it all up with a little bit of like the like his thumb. He just kind of scrubs it all in there. He starts reaffirming some of the sigils. He starts muttering in Sumerian. When that happens, you see all the candles in this area start to flutter a little bit. You weird sense of a presence in the area that slowly kind of fades into just a background noise. And once that's done, he kind of smiles. He's like, "All right, we are good to go. Let's go ahead and clean this back out again." He kind of hands you back up the chalice.
Okay, I'll take it and head back up to re-clean and re-cleanse it.
Okay. By the time you're done doing that, Sarah has arrived with Sullivan. You guys get in, and you will see that Quentin, as you guys walk in, kind of emerges from that back area where that trapdoor is to the basement. And he's wearing like his black suit. He sees her, kind of gives her a small nod, and she kind of seems almost off the bat like to have her gaze linger on him. Like she's chatty with Sullivan, but she keeps on looking back at him. And Lemont and Preston can, since you guys were around him, as he came out, you felt his like presence kind of surge from him. Like he hit her with it, boom, as soon as she walked in the door, that he saw her. And he walks up, and Sarah's like, "And you are someone I haven't met." He's like, "Oh, don't worry about me. You look really tired. Why don't we get you some rest, and maybe you can go to sleep?" And she's like, "What?" And just boom. Like he catches her before she hits the ground.
All right.
All right. We ready for this?
Absolutely.
He'll just casually rest her over one shoulder and start walking back towards the basement. As he's walking down, he looks over his shoulder towards Sullivan. He's like, "You don't have an attachment to this thing, do you?"
No.
Good.
Short of a feeding buddy.
Well, you're going to be one short after tonight, so
There's
I
a lot of
apologize.
hookers. A lot of hookers in Chicago.
Preston said you have a stable, so he'll chuckle and he'll walk into the sacrificial chamber, and you'll see he'll take her and lay her down in the middle of that circle that he was preparing earlier that Preston saw. So when you guys come down the stairs, there are no rats visible. You can hear them kind of off in the corner, but it feels like they're trying to get away from him as he's walking down here. Like they're moving from his presence. For you guys, you were brought up in your tutelage underneath him after your sire got called to the Middle East. So his unnerving presence, his lack of humanity is something you've gotten used to. These animals are giving him naturally wide berth as he's moving through because it's just that forceful. It's that up front. He goes into the room with her, lays her out in a circle, and he takes a chalice from Preston once he has it. And you see him pull like this little vial of oil out of his jacket pocket. It's a clear oil, and it smells like it's like a blessed oil. Like maybe it has a bit of rosemary smell to it. Once he pops up the stopper, he pours that into it, and he literally sits down in the middle of the circle for a second with Sarah, and he grabs her by the back of her head, like really gets a good fist of her hair to hold her up. As he holds her up, he puts the chalice in the middle of the circle, puts her like throat over it, and then very carefully moves where he's sitting outside the circle. He starts muttering Sumerian. Now for Sullivan, actually, no, Preston, you know this language as well now, the Akkadian. So he is basically whispering out a series of prayers and mantras to what you would now call demons. Demons of the air, demons of the water, demons of sight. You know, these types of spirits that the Sumerians may worship that have now been kind of relegated into that category of demonic entity since Catholicism came about. But back in the day, like Marduk, etc., these were just gods. These were just old gods. Essentially, as he gets to this crescendo, as he's asking them for their insight and their intervention, he slits her throat. As he does that, all her blood just sprays hot out into the chalice and starts mixing with the oil. And he holds her there very calmly. And he actually, at this lull neutralized, he's waiting for her to bleed out her last. He's just humming this very casual tune to himself. Just, not a care in the world as he's doing this. It's incredibly cold. Like, he doesn't even have an iota of flinch on him as she shudders out her last breath and dies. Once she's drained, he gives her a little bit of a shake, then lets her drop within the circle. At that point, he steps in and swirls the chalice, pulls back her head again, and pours it down her mouth. So as all her blood and the oil is pouring into her mouth, streaming down the sides of her face and a little bit down her throat and on the front of her shirt, he starts chanting again. He starts repeating the same mantra over and over in this Sumerian tongue, that the spirits are welcome to this vessel. This vessel has been given just for them, for their use, to answer his summons. And that's when Preston feels that same presence that had been here and settled into the area around you surges up again. All of you can feel it. All of you are attuned to blood magic. You feel this weird, dark presence kind of hover over this room. It's oddly absent around the well, because again, that's where he did the warding circle versus spirits. But you can see it dancing in the candles that are lit around this entire room. And as the last bit of that blood and oil pours into Sarah's corpse's mouth, you see the body shudder, then seize up. He lets her go and steps outside the circle and says, "Now, you, tell me, what is in the lake?" And you see Sarah's eyes open, and they're cloudy, like almost like she's been dead for hours, if not days. Her eyes are just this milky white color as they look over at Quentin. Then it shifts, like the head tilts almost like an animalistic way, and looks over at Sullivan, then Lemont, and Preston. I need all of you to make me a willpower roll. Difficulty is only a 2. So who wants to go first?
I'll do Preston.
Preston will get 4 successes. All right.
You just have to hit the willpower button, right?
Yep.
He's willpower.
2.
Sullivan's got 2.
It's
all right.
Up top underneath your physical traits.
I got it. I was talking smack.
Oh, all right.
Lemont got 3. So you guys are all good. You feel as this entity stares at you through this corpse, this sudden surge of like panic, almost like a Rosh check, starts to build in your beast, but you all push it down, you swallow it down. It doesn't manage to trigger this, basically what would be an inhumane fear out of you, because you're being stared at by something from beyond this reality. Once it seems satisfied that none of you are shirking back in fear, it turns its face back to Quentin and says, "Why?" Quentin says, "Because I want to know. I demand to know, and you're under my power, so let's not even start with the bullshit, demon." It chuckles, and as it laughs, you hear a couple other laughs like kind of layered on it. And you feel at that point there are multiple presences in the room right now. And it kind of feels like that circle that he made is like the center point for it. And it's all of them are trapped within it currently, within the boundary of this body. Once the sound dies away, it looks back at Quentin and says, "It's a child of Nurgle." Quentin says, "I know that. But what else is it?" The creature starts to laugh again. "It's part of a creature that beyond anything you could comprehend." And Quentin's like, "What is that supposed to mean?" And it just starts laughing. "You'll never understand. What you think is there is just a shadow of what it really is." Quentin says, "It's not a child. I know that. So don't play your games." And the corpse kind of looks at him like almost like, "What are you talking about?" It says, "It is not a child. You're correct. It is a fragment of a child splintered into him." Quentin raises a brow. "So where is it?" The being says, "I am not going to tell you." Quentin says, "Of course you are." And he reaches over at the athame that he used to cut her throat and disembowels her, just slices right across her stomach. The creature screams, and you feel that surge of blood magic, like energy, kind of gather within Quentin and be expelled towards his creature. And its entrails just pour out over the dirt of the floor. And in the blood that spills with it, and some of the oil that's kind of snaked its way through its system, you guys start to see a little bit of the shape of Lake Michigan start to form in this pattern as it puddles and pools itself. And while most of it's bloody red and a little bit of that clear liquid from the oil, you see black veins start to streak through it. And for Preston in particular, you see it roughly about where your boat stopped whenever you had that issue with Narissa. And from there, that blackness starts to spread like a cancer throughout the blood and the sacred oil that's on the ground. And it starts to smolder and smoke. And Quentin, like, he kind of pulls back, like, surprised. He's like, what the fuck? This creature starts laughing, and he's like, be gone. We are done with you. You leave now. And the being starts to laugh, like, we don't have to leave, because now we have power other than yours to sustain us. And it looks over at the well. And you hear V's laughter.
Was it coming from up the stairs?
Mm-hmm. Quentin goes, who the fuck is that?
That's the demonic entity that we told you about that we're trying to keep from down here.
And the creature laughs, but you can see that it tries to move towards the edge of the circle that Quentin had placed it in, and it can't go past that barrier. But you do start to hear V's footsteps start coming down the basement stairs. What do you guys want to do?
I was pretty sure he had a handle on this, so
That was the hope, anyways.
Right?
I don't really know what I can do, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because if I remember correctly, he just walks through shit, right? Like, he's intangible. Yeah, so I don't know what the fuck we could do.
I'm gonna wait and see what happens, because quite honestly, I'm not mystically equipped to handle him or the fucking ritual that's being performed down here.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm just gonna watch and see what happens.
Yeah, I can throw a crafted bloodstone at him. That's about all I can do.
I can tell him to go away.
So as the moments pass, you'll see V
do
kind of make his way to the door, but he can't enter the chamber
Mm-hmm.
because of the ward that Quentin put up. But you can feel that mystically with this active ritual and how, I guess, attuned you guys are to this particular well. When Quentin opened a crack in the shell to allow this entity through, a little bit of that allowed some of what V is to enter as well. So at this point, you see Quentin look over his shoulder, and he just grits his teeth and clenches his jaw, and you see him look back, and as the candlelight strikes the side of his face, you'll see his eyes kind of move a little bit black as he starts focusing his blood through his body, and you see him kind of reach up, and he grabs the head of the corpse that's talking with him, the possessed corpse, and you can see under his skin where he's grabbed it, it starts to smolder and smoke as he activates a power of blood sorcery called Corrosive Vitae. He basically starts melting the corpse with the power of his blood sorcery, like one slow, like smoldering, smelly inch at a time as he's pushing his hand through the head. Now, as he gets down towards like the nose, like as his palm starts to push into the body, it starts laughing. Once he kind of melts down to where the jaw is, he just grabs the jaw, rips it off the corpse, and he mutters out this curse in Sumerian back towards V as he literally throws the jawbone of this corpse at V's figure. And as it hits, V's form disperses. And you guys feel this sudden rush of that demonic energy swirl and get pushed out of the room, leaving this like half smoldering, smelly corpse with its entrails just spilled all over your floor in the dirt.
Well, as long as we've got all of that under control.
Now you see what we've been dealing with.
Quentin looks back at you. You see like a little bit of blood sweat just starting to bead like on his temple, right on his forehead. That was unexpected. I didn't think that thing's tie was that strong to the well.
We didn't know, because he could have been here since we've been here without us knowing during the day while we were sleeping.
I think
we only learned about this entity 2 weeks ago.
I think the real issue is that we don't know even what it is.
That's true. It seems to be some sort of. It seems to be some sort of like almost biblical, maybe, but he seems to be the one who brought in the vermin. So
The
some
thing-
sort of
No, he didn't
insectoid.
bring the vermin. He actually Quentin points at Preston. He brought the vermin. That Vanathra, that thing there, and he just kind of
Yes.
jerks a thumb towards the door where he was. That's a plague demon.
Makes sense. It's unfortunately, we know enough not to be friendly and cordial. And I'll stare at Preston and Sullivan. We know he offers way too much with too little in return, or offers too much in return with too little risk for us. So
And we
knew
also-
we
we also
knew he's not
know-
a friend.
Right. We also know he's been tied to our bloodline for eons.
Well, it's because of who you're descended from.
Right.
Um,
But we're ill-equipped to deal with him, unfortunately.
well, you could make a deal with him.
That's okay.
There's nothing wrong with it. Just don't make it your own soul.
Of course not. But either way, we're not educated enough on how to properly handle him to even start thinking of something on that level.
Well, then I will be available for you guys to talk about that, because to be quite honest, and he actually points towards the corpse. That was actually a deal right there with a form of spirit. They want the physical body, they want sensation. So for that brief exchange of them having a body to inhabit that's free of a soul, I get information. It's a short-term deal, short-lived, doesn't cost me anything, and I get what I need. Unfortunately, apparently your Vanathra friend decided to make a bit of an exchange on that front as well. So it is what it is. Lake Michigan, that is definitely going to be an issue. What I'm gathering from what that said is there's a part of a child in that creature.
That, from the vision I got from what Preston went through, that would fit the bill.
That would make sense why Cause is here, Larson. He's probably here to hunt it down, which is another problem.
Well, this entire thing seems pretty well beyond the three of us. I'm not sure what the likelihood is of striking some kind of a temporary, uneasy alliance in the interest of a common goal with Larson would be, but I think it's
Like the
something
enemy of my enemy.
worth discussing anyways.
Larson is working towards this goal, but he's not going to give any resources to this side unless you decide to join up with him. I did not agree with it. He works for a death cult. I have no interest in working for that cult. And because of that, well, let's put it this way. If we see each other, one of us is going to be dead.
That's fair. Well, we're with you and don't have any interest in working with him either. To that end. I think what Preston was just getting at is the enemy of my enemy type deal. But what if we more so just stay out of his way, let him hunt it?
Because he's an idiot.
Okay, so then he dies in the process, and it's a win-win situation. The problem isn't gone, but he is. Or he succeeds, and the problem's gone, and he's not.
He's not going to succeed because, let's put it this way. His people believe that his branch of the Molokim believe that they need to destroy every single well sacrifice in existence. And only by doing that will they free anything. It's just delaying the inevitable. We all know this.
Right.
But
That's why we keep them asleep.
Well, but these deluded into thinking like they can keep them asleep forever. That's
Well,
not
only until we decide to bring them about. It's just not time.
right. But that's what I'm telling you is he doesn't believe that. He believes that they can stop them from ever awakening. Not that they're going to kill them, but stop them from ever awakening. And that's just not
That's
possible.
naive.
It's not possible. I mean, I don't see an issue with staying out of his way, letting him kind of work whatever angle he has. I don't know what he has in the area. I'm not friends with him like that. But he's got to have at least a nest. At least.
He did allude to having a nest here somewhere, yes. Or not far from here, anyways. He didn't specify Chicago, but I assume he's here. He has either brought them or they were here to begin with.
I don't know how long he's been here, but he's managed to work his way up to be nice and cozy with the prince.
Big city.
Ooh, well,
Lots of holes.
yeah. Do you like this prince?
As much as any. I mean,
He's, as far as Camarilla princes go, he's fairly reasonable. He doesn't tend to go off half-cocked. He seems fairly calculating in the maneuvers that he makes. He's at least intelligent.
Because we can plant the idea within the Tremere clan to go test Mr. Larson's blood for his clan, get him out as a Baali, and then paint the prince as a Baali sympathizer.
I don't really see any negative in that, other than you know, I would be cautious about when we started doing that. I think the three of us have proven to be almost uncannily capable of finding information, and I would hate to do this hastily and grow further suspicion, especially of the Nosferatu.
Well, so in my line of thinking, there are really two possibles here. One is you drive the city into chaos and use that chaos to do what we have to do to purge whatever's in the lake. Two, you work the court and whatever angles you guys have already made here to make them go against the former Bahari.
Yeah,
That's already what's going on.
It's already in motion.
The Toreador want to blood hunt them just blanket. The prince is sort of wavering on it. I'm not sure where Larson is on it. He at least has the ear of the prince. I would like to think that if his goal is the same, he realizes that ex-Baali, who are now cultivar under Narissa, who is serving this thing in the lake, that it's in everyone's best interest for them to go away, and pointing the city at it by way of blood hunt is probably the best way to go about that. So I think it's really only a matter of time.
We could always attempt to point Portia at it.
Yeah, Portia didn't.
Portia's clearly, and she's more than some neonate random lady. She's at least on par with the thing in the lake. Otherwise, how could she have combated and saved you?
Well, I ran into her at court, and she acted like she had no idea who the hell I was, and had seemingly no recollection of any interaction that I had ever had with her, saving me nothing. So I don't know what her
she
angle
drank
is.
my blood. I felt her drink my memories. I can't do that. I don't know anybody that can do that.
Well, I mean, we all do that to some degree when we feed. So
Not like this.
My point is that I don't know what her game is. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know enough about her.
Either.
I can't manipulate what I don't know or influence what I don't know. And I have no idea what her deal is.
So let's leave her aside as an unknown for the moment. Let's not even put her on the board. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there's potential there because Sullivan, you said that she said something about hunting together.
She did. She said she said we would hunt it together after she was done feeding on me, basically.
All right.
And as I came out of the daze, she was already down the hall and in a different room.
What clan is she?
Toreador, supposedly.
Toreador.
So if the Toreador are already pushing to have the Bahari blood hunted, then, I mean, put her in that same boat as just a general Toreador.
Yeah.
And as far as throwing the city into chaos with the Sabat issue, the La Sombra issue, with all the things this city has going on, it wouldn't be hard to just tip it over the edge, really.
Well, it sort of already is. That the discussion has been on Elysium that there are strange bedfellows throughout the entire city, and that's because it seems like everyone is getting desperate and they're making alliances where they may not normally do so. I'm not opposed to pointing the prince at Larson, but I would prefer to wait until a decision is made as to what they want to do with the Bahari, because I wouldn't want to completely destabilize the regime before they have a chance to get rid of this cultivar, or at least weaken them enough to where we may actually have a shot at doing something.
So your mileage may vary with this, and every Camarilla city is different, but it's my experience that if a prince has too many fires to put out calmly, they start making snap decisions, and they're often drastic snap decisions.
Mm-hmm.
If you can gear, because they want to quell things before the Primogen or other clans start saying, well, can you handle the city? We should remove you from power, things of that nature. So
Make a statement, basically.
right, if you start enough fires under, was it Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
Under Jackson's watch, he'll start stomping them out as opposed to putting them out with finesse.
That was my goal from the beginning. And we kind of were making strides toward this effort. I mean, we have a lot of fire. We have a lot of pots in the fire, I suppose. So, we can just continue doing what we've been doing.
Well, in the background, then my advice would be to find out where the cultivar, quote unquote, whatever they're not, we know what they're doing, but this new cult that they're naming themselves as, where their wells are. If you can shut down those wells, you can weaken their connection. First
We
thing
can
would
check
be,
back in at the yacht club because that was a major base of operations, and we did walk in on a attempted ritual in progress. At the time, it was misguided and not going to accomplish what they wanted to, but might be worthwhile to see if they've evolved.
okay. Well,
Remember, I think it was kind of a show for the Hakata.
That's true too.
maybe, but if you know a location where they may have done a sacrifice, that'd be the first place to look. There are ways
Yeah, the yacht club.
to backtrack. Well, was that a sacrifice or was it?
We're not sure. She did, after whatever ritual she was performing, having them exhaust themselves and dance till their feet were bloody and could no longer dance. She just walked through and started slaughtering. So whether it was a show that had an end where the sacrifices meant something, or
Yeah,
she
well,
was just
how-
killing them to kill them.
How
we don't
long
know.
ago was this?
It was like a month and a half ago, give or take.
I need something more recent.
Did they slaughter the mortal Bahari somewhere? Like you said, you couldn't get a hold of your buddy. Maybe there's a faint glimmer of battery life left. Maybe you can try and pull him up on Find My iPhone or something. See where his phone's at. Maybe we can get an idea.
I tried to call my mortal connection, and the police picked up.
Here's the thing.
That's no good.
Um,
No.
I'm going to
do that
write
again.
down some ritual instructions for you. It's a way to triangulate, essentially, mystical energies. But if you go out and do this, I need to stay here to make sure that that shithead doesn't come back and fuck with any of the wards. And if he does, him and I are going to have a little demon to demon master chat, if you know what I mean.
Yes, of course.
All right.
Okay.
Well, someone to get rid of this. He'll point down at the corpse. The circle's fine, can break it. The right's done. I'm going to go upstairs and start writing that down.
So that's fine. Lemont will grab the corpse by its hair and begin to drag it up the stairs to our restroom.
It's
I'm
a
going to go
bit
grab a trash bag and
It's-
put the rest of the slop into it.
well, it's a bit messy because as Lemont starts dragging it out, I mean, you guys get this taken care of. It's just
Yeah.
at first it's like, okay, he starts dragging. Well, then we have the entrails just kind of dragging along the dirt
Yeah.
of the basement.
Get
Then you
a
guys
trash
come up.
bag.
Yeah,
I
you
forgot
guys.
I forgot everything was sort of out.
Yeah, he
So,
disemboweled her. Like,
Yeah.
And he melted her.
get again.
She's
get
a
it
little
back.
melty.
well, from the head, anyways. You know, her
Melty
head,
face.
the top of her head looks like one of the demons from Constantine, where it's just like missing the top half. But it's a handprint,
It's Melty Head Lady, the sister of Bernie Head Guy.
essentially.
Yeah. Also, as a side note, Lemont will at some point tonight take a trip over to the nearest all-night hardware store, the Home Depots, etc., and buy himself a large roll of brown craft paper and tape. Just
Yeah.
in case. Yeah.
That's not an issue. You guys get everything upstairs and you see to some minor things like running that errand while he's basically inscribing this right for you in Latin. He literally gives it to Preston and says, you can read this, right? Okay, we're going to fix that. What do you speak?
English and Akkadian.
He'll start retranscribing in Akkadian as they dispose of the body. Essentially, just in quick terms, what do you guys want to do with Sarah's corpse?
I mean, collect her, and my plan was genuinely just to put the remains in the trunk of a car and
Okay.
take it out to fucking middle of nowhere and
Just drop it. Okay.
yeah, this just sort of nonchalantly, yeah, not even burn it, just like on the
Leave
side
it
of the
for the
road.
animals.
Right, like out in a cornfield somewhere, like.
Bussy Woods is massive. We could always just throw it out.
I would like to take the corpse of a human outside of the city of Chicago.
That's fair. Oh yeah, we can go down to the suburbs.
Reasons.
And with Sullivan's level of wits, you remember to get her phone off the corpse before you drop it off because you called her. then you dispose of the phone as well.
Absolutely.
That's one of those things that, being a ritual sacrifice, person, you guys don't
Yeah.
make these little mistakes. So I'm not going to screw you with that. Don't worry. Sullivan has the wherewithal to kind of gather that while you guys take the body and get rid of it, as Preston and Quentin are back at the house, basically getting this new ritual. By the time that Lemont and Sullivan get back, he's inscribed in the Akkadian script the ritual he's trying to give you, the triangulation ritual, essentially. And looking over what it does is, if you find an area where a ritual's been taking place, a dedicated ritual, if it's tethered to something, it helps you triangulate the location of what it's tethered to. So, for example, if I'm out in the field and I perform a sacrifice, but I want to tether that mystically to my well, I would want to cast something and magically tie it, like a little bit of a link. There's a lot of stuff behind it magically. Like, you want a bit of the original well that you're tying it to, and you want to have something to connect the two, like an arcane link. And this kind of helps triangulate that energy down a little bit spiritually. It's like Illuminate Trail to Prey, but for ritual magic. Well, it looks like we're going to start going ritual hunting with the nest currently, with the little ritual that Quincy, it is Quincy, by the way, and I don't know why, but I keep on calling him Quentin. That's completely on me. But with the ritual that Quincy has given them, they can track down at least the hub of where these rituals are tethered to, if in fact the sacrifice of the Bahari mortal side of the cult was actually a ritual and not a dead end. We'll see where that goes next episode, and we'll see everyone there.